All right. All right. So it says I am live this evening. Oh, look at you guys. A bunch of people are hopping on, or maybe you chatted before. I legit am not familiar with any of this YouTube stuff, but I've heard it's pretty simple. So we are going to get rocking with it. So welcome everybody if you hopped on. Thanks for getting on here. It's funny because I've done in the past some like Facebook lives, and I would, pick a topic and share just kind of on the stuff that I learn about, whether it's in business or personal development or just whatever. And usually it's pretty quick. It's something that's just a quick, fun little topic, just a little snippet. And recently I've been doing an awesome show with my friend Amy Springer, and it is focused more towards Amazon merch. And there's a lot of different topics with it, but basically that's like the community that we talk to. And I do know that, thanks so much for that community for, hopping on here and checking this out too. But, I also have a lot of friends that are in kind of the general e-commerce space, or if you want to call it side hustle, or, there's a lot of my friends that are working on an area of entrepreneurship in their life. So, I thought, hey, I'm definitely not fully an expert at this, but I have been working for myself for 12 years now, and I love it. I love having that freedom. We can go over all of the ups and downs and the craziness and the stresses and all that kind of stuff, but I really can't imagine it any other way. And I look at a lot of, my day-to-day life, and I really want that for other people, if that's what they want. It's not for everybody, but I really want that for other people. And, I think I was very fortunate at a pretty young age, right out of college, to basically jump into this online gig. I've done a lot of different things over the past 12 years, but really full time on my own for the past 12 years. And so I didn't really have, I don't want to say that opportunity, but I really didn't have any type of corporate framework or corporate mentality that was kind of like shoved down my throat, to where it's kind of hard to get out of that. I was young, and I was able to, kind of jump, and, if I fell on my face, then I would, brush it off and figure it out and, go on, and I know that there's a lot of people out there that might have come across this journey, whether it's, again, being an entrepreneur, wanting to start something from themselves, and they might actually have a job right now. They might have a job right now, and they might have big responsibilities. And I can tell you, I can totally relate, because even though I started this journey when I did not have kids, and I was, single shortly right before I started dating John, there has been times throughout, the past 12 years that our businesses had, taken a turn, or we had to evolve, or whatever it was. And that was really difficult. It was really difficult to maybe be, running. Sometimes I would call like one of our businesses the job, because it's not necessarily the business that we want to work on. It's not the vision. It's not what we want to scale. So I can definitely relate to that. And it's not easy. It's extremely, extremely stressful. And whether you're doing this with your spouse or not, I mean, I do it full time with my husband, John. That's when we have the e-com hustler couple there. He's actually down on a sourcing trip right now. He left today for Guatemala. So I'm going to be hanging out with my daughter for the next week. And my 2.5-year-old daughter. I know not everybody knows. So anyways, me hanging out with her for the next week. And so just kind of wanted to share that my week is going to look really different from, how it would look, I guess there's not really a usual, but typically John is here. So with that, we would be kind of divide and conquering our businesses and trying to figure out, who's going to work when, who's going to take on Ken's, and we would schedule that out. So this week is a little bit different. And I thought it was kind of a perfect timing to kind of talk to you guys. And so being the first show, I wanted to share a little bit of kind of why I'm doing this. It's kind of been something that I've thought about for a while, but then again, it's not something I just don't want to. It's not totally fun to kind of, you want to say, talk to yourself. I know I'm not talking to myself, but talk to the computer. Feel self-conscious, wonder if what you're saying is going to help somebody or not. Where as women, a lot of times we're not really nice to ourselves. So we'll the nitpickiness, the insecurities, all that kind of stuff. So it's like, well, why would I even jump on here and do this, And the reason is, for the past year, I've been going to different conferences. There's been a lot of different ones. They've been just general for entrepreneur. There's been ones for e-commerce. There's been ones for Amazon merch. And it's been pretty prominent, and people have brought it up so often that there's not a lot of women speakers. There's not a lot of women, that are coming out and kind of leading in different ways. And I started thinking about that. I mean, I don't know. I don't really notice that. I love the people that I follow. I regularly get information, from other people. I love, learning from others. So it wasn't anything that was super in my face for me to kind of recognize that. And so until, like I said, I got to some of these conferences, and I talked to some of the ladies, and they talked about how they really felt alone a lot of times, whether it's because, they're moms and they're at home and they're trying to take care of the kids and they're trying to do this. And, welcome to all the guys that are coming on here. This is not just going to be, a chick flick, but I am a chick and I am a mom and a wife. And there's going to be a lot of those topics that I'm going to talk about, because I think that they're potentially is kind of a void, I guess. Again, I didn't really realize it. Like when I want to hop on and find something to get me amped up, Grant Cardone, love him or hate him. I'm not saying like I want to be besties with the guy, but you know what? There's some stuff that he says that gets me fired up. Gary Vee, Tony Robbins. I mean, I can go on and on and on and on. And most of my list are kind of like straight to the point, hard-hitting dudes. The only, and you know what, come on and please go ahead and like put on some of your, female ladies that you follow. And I'm talking about like big influential, speakers that you see, general motivational speakers, inspirational speakers, that type of thing. One that I have, and it's very inspiring, is Mel Robbins. And so there's Mel Robbins. And then recently, give me a hey, ladies, if you have listened to Rachel Hollis at all. I just discovered her. She had done the book Girl Wash Your Face. And it's so good. She is, I mean, she's so awesome. And so I know that I hesitated to come on here and want to speak with ladies because I'm not very delicate sometimes. I'm not very, God, I love people, but I'm not super like compassionate when it comes to things, like when it comes to struggles. And when it comes, and the reason being is because I hate seeing people struggle. I hate seeing people feeling like they don't have an out. And that does not mean that I'm just like, oh, well, grab yourself by the bootstraps and get it going, girl. Like that's not exactly, it's not exactly what I mean, but if I'm going to speak to people, because I am very empathetic, and I hate seeing that. It hurts my heart. Like, and so the biggest thing is that if there's a problem or if there's something that you're going through, you can change it 100%. I genuinely believe that. I don't care what it is. And so my main thing is I don't want to come off harsh, especially to women and moms that are their own worst critic. And I know that because I go through it myself. And the last thing that you need, if you're not realizing it, is you don't need somebody, coming at you and feeling like it's beating you down. And I don't want that. But here's the thing. Here's what I know is that I might not be able to come across and resonate with everybody. And I don't think that everybody does. Because again, I named off some people and there's some of you guys out there that are like, these are not my people. And you know what? That means that some of the topics that I talk about, or maybe some of the angles that I come at or whatever, it might not be for you. And that's okay. You just have to find the people that you can connect with. Because here's one of the things that I've feel over the past 12 years that I've been really, really good at when it comes to, being an entrepreneur and working for myself is I am good at brainwashing myself. And I mean that in the best way. If you guys think about how you talk to yourself, I know I've tried to correct some of the ladies that, I've been able to have some awesome conversations with. And when you're getting down on yourself or whatever, like you realize like you are just mean to you. Could you imagine, just take a step back for a second and think about, what you're saying to yourself. Like, oh my gosh, what did I do today? I didn't get anything done. Oh my gosh, I failed at this again. Da, 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 da. Like you are constantly in your head. That is something that is not okay. And just think about if you were saying that to somebody else, like saying that to your friend or saying that, girl, you got to be friend to yourself. Like that is extremely important. Like you need to be your number one cheerleader. You need to be, just kind to yourself. And so, I think that because it's just not something that is natural at all, that it's very, very, very important to find something that you can listen to and turn that voice off. I'm not sure if it's possible to turn it off for good because I've never found the ability to. What I have found is I recognize very quickly when something is when I'm starting to get those negative thoughts about whatever it is. It could be, how I am as a mom, how I am as a wife, the conversation, how I didn't speak very nicely to John, like, whether it's I didn't do as much as I wanted to in my business, all those types of things, you have got to figure out how to get yourself out of that. So, for me, it's, audiobooks, it's reading, it's YouTube. And I can tell you, I talk to, a lot of different people about their business or if they're not, if they're struggling or whatever. And like really the first thing that I ask, like, okay, what are you reading right now? Because the people that I talk to that are in the space in e-commerce or, are working for themselves, they're constantly reading. The people that are have been doing this for a long time, that seem like they have a really good mental attitude all the time. Like, how can you be positive all the time? How can you have a great outlook all the time? We don't. We don't. That's just how we don't. But you know what we do know? We know where to go to get that. We know where to go to get filled up. So you really need to find that. And thankfully with the internet, it's not hard. It's not hard to find that. So, let me see. Let's see. We have some people I wanted to see. Oh yeah. I did watch that, Helen, the interview with, Ed Mylett. And it's funny because, so I went to Grant Cardone's 10X and he was one of the speakers. Frizella was one of the speakers, all of these really hard hitting, guys basically, but again, really direct. And I feel like sometimes we almost do a disservice by being so, I don't know if you want to say understanding or relaxed or allowing somebody to have excuses, because really, I don't care what it is. If, there's if you have children, and it's more difficult for somebody that doesn't have children, you know, like I have one kid, and I look at it because I see some people, and you guys are juggling, you know, 2, 3, 4. I have, my best friend has 5 kids. You know, you're juggling all this, and so I look at it and people will be like, okay, yeah, Amanda, well, you can do that because, you know, you work from home, and you know, you work with your husband, and you have one kid. And you know, it's funny because here's a perspective, you guys. Like, I have one kid because pre to Kenzie, I had a miscarriage like a few years prior. Otherwise, I'd have 2. So I don't say that this isn't like a, whoa, this is a crazy blow. I say that because that provides perspective, I think. You know, like, everybody has something. Could you imagine, like, when we were going through that, like, we had our businesses and we had to deal with that while we had our businesses. That's not something that you want to go through. That's not something that you want to figure out how to keep your, you know, mind right through that time period. You know, I share that because here's the thing is, you look at somebody and you be like, oh my gosh, or say you have 2 kids, you have 3 kids, you don't know, you know, you're juggling all this, and be like, I have 3 kids. How amazing is that? You know, there's people that are, you really want children, and then there's people that don't. It's okay either way. Point being is that, you know what, you have the hand that you're dealt, and what matters most is how you play it. I've never, ever went to an event. I've never heard anybody stand up and say, man, I had it so easy, you know, and now, boom, I'm huge. I'm this awesome, you know, successful business person, or whatever you want to call it, whatever is success for them. Never. That's not once. You know why? A, because it'd be boring. B, when you have an easy cush life, I don't know, you just, maybe you haven't had to struggle a lot. Maybe you haven't had to, you know, once you hit something that is really, really difficult, maybe you kind of shrink back a little bit. But that does not mean that you can't overcome it. And how do you overcome it? You submerge yourself in personal development. That's really the only thing that I can say. And it really helps you to stay even keel. Like I said, putting things into perspective. There's so many ways that you're able to compare yourselves to other people. You know, I'm in a lot of different, like, little chats, or, you know, between 5 to 15 people, of all different people that are doing, you know, in different levels in their business or whatever. And it'd be so easy to get caught up in, oh my gosh, wow, well, they're, you know, killing it over here. You know, what's wrong with me? Or no, you have to get that out of your head. That's not even like going to be effective at all. So you need to focus on what you're doing. You need to look at what you're doing, and you need to be okay, happy, grateful with your journey. Okay. So, you know, just a couple of points. The chat popped off here, so I can't even see it, but I did make a couple of other things that I wanted to mention to you guys, this evening. And I don't know how long these things will be. I think that once I start getting some amazing guests on, you know, you guys are going to sit here and listen to me ramble tonight for a little bit. But I'm going to get some really awesome guests to come on. And that excites me more than anything, because I love meeting new people and hearing their stories, and knowing that they're going to be able to help and inspire other people. And that's the part that gets me so excited about this. And I'm definitely going to be doing that. And it'll be, again, just people just in general that I don't know what entrepreneurs, you know, that's probably going to be the majority of it. But, you know, I think that when I thought about what I was going to do, and what I had to share, like I said, there's going to be, I put this as like the Sunday setup, because it actually, even if you're not an entrepreneur, and you just kind of want to kind of get stuff in order. I don't know. I talk to a lot of moms, and it's like, I feel like they're just trying to do it all, no matter what. You know, it's juggling everything, whether it's, you know, kids, the house, some, they have full-time, part-time jobs, you know, some are running businesses. And I don't know why we choose to overload ourselves so much. I don't know why we take that upon ourselves to drive ourselves crazy, in a sense. But I think that we need to be able to tone it down a little bit. I think one of the reasons is because there's a lot of feeling like you need to live up to something in a certain regard. And maybe that's because of everything that's going on, you know, with social media. And for me, the reason why I feel, this is one of the biggest points that came to me when I was thinking about this. The reason why I kind of feel like I don't struggle with that a lot to where it's like, oh my gosh, I feel like I should be doing more or whatever, is because I think I have a really good filter. I think that I started even before, you know, Facebook and stuff got big. I think I started protecting my my thoughts, protecting the people that I surround myself with, protecting just what I put in my head. I mean, I don't watch the news at all, ever. I literally, and some people say, oh my gosh, well, you know, obviously, how do you keep up with what's going on with the world? Well, I seriously, every once in a while, I'll be like to John, hey, babe, what's going on in the world today? Like, legitimately. Or obviously on Facebook, I can see if there's some chatter going on. Okay, maybe this is something that I should kind of, you know, look at. But I really, really protect my thoughts. And that's one of the things that, whether it, again, is on Facebook, I mean, there's the unfollow button, you guys. If you can't handle it, turn it off. Get off Facebook. My Facebook never, okay, I won't say never, but very rarely does my Facebook bring me down, because I know where to go to find encouragement. Besides the fact that Facebook's pretty smart. So if you're seeing a lot of shit on your feed, if you're a lot of crappy stuff, a lot of stuff that's bringing you down, you better be careful about what you're participating in and what you're commenting on and what you're liking or whatever it is, because that's why you're seeing that crap. Unless you're John, who likes to tag me in stupid nail things. If you guys have seen that on Facebook, it's horrifying. And then all you guys that are tagging him, it shows up on my feed too. So I get to see that stuff, which is just really ridiculous. So yeah, I see you laughing about that, Amy. So anyways, you know, that's something that I think you guys, you have to get a grip on. And that's in everything, in life, in your real life. You know, it might sound harsh. You guys, this might be in your family. This might be your close friends. This might be in your family. You need to protect your thoughts. For sure. And so that's one of the things that I think is huge, is just being able to filter. And then, I mean, cause again, you guys were on there and I don't think, I mean, sure, maybe some people are popping on there and they're being fake. I don't think that, you know, when I see somebody on there and they're excited about something, and I'm excited for them, I genuinely am. And then, you know, it just doesn't, I don't know. I guess I understand that they're sharing a piece of their day, a piece of something that they're excited about. It's not that, oh my gosh, they have this or do this or are achieving this and I'm not. Like, I don't play that game. You know, it's just not about me. So that's something that, again, we have to get a grip on. I think we have to get a grip on that in society. I think, you know, hopefully kids are able to do that. Hopefully they are able to get a grip on that unfollow button. I think that's a very serious thing. And so I'm kind of getting off base here a little bit, but, you know, let's circle it back all the way around. And real quick, let's talk about what we can do for this week. All right. What can we do? Like, again, I don't care if you are an entrepreneur, if you're working for yourself, if you're not. I like to, we definitely write out our goals, you know, monthly, 6 months, year. We can talk about our vision even far beyond that, but our lives and our businesses change so rapidly that we don't get anything like super concrete. And maybe we will. You know, we have some plans to actually get a coach here in the beginning of the year. We're going to get a business coach because I think we're too in the picture. You know, when people say that you can't see what's inside the picture when you're inside the frame, basically, you kind of have to step out of it. So I think we're going to be doing that, which I'm really, really excited about for the first time in 12 years. I think we're definitely, because I mean, we can execute on stuff, no problem. You know, we can work nonstop, we can grind it out. But when you're going into different aspects of business that you're not familiar with, and there's just that bit of unsureness. I mean, I think that everybody has that, you know, you don't have that, you're very unsure. And that's just how it is. I mean, if you don't have somebody that's guiding the way, and when you're an entrepreneur, you typically don't, it's really lonely. Maybe getting a coach is a good idea. So we'll see, because this whole progression of how I'm going to share, what we've got going on. I think, moving on after tonight's show, or whatever you want to call it, we'll be sharing, I'll be sharing just basically what we're doing along the way, because again, it's a journey. We're always continuing to work and grow. And so, like I said, for this week, John's in Guatemala. We have businesses. We're in Q4. It's an incredibly busy time for us. He's going over there to source some inventory, to make contacts, all that. He's going to be gone until Saturday. And before he left, I had a minor freak out. Because our suppliers are not able to keep up with our sales. And everybody say, oh, wow, really? Like, that's a good problem to have. Well, kind of not, because what happened is, like, we had no idea that when we were able to get a lot of velocity, mainly all of our products right now are sold on Amazon. So when you pick up velocity and everything, that's fantastic. But we were pumping it, a lot of different marketing and working on that to get that velocity. Well, what happens when you run out of stock is that you lose that momentum. Well, guess what? It's right in the beginning of Q4. Last thing I want to do is lose all that momentum that not only do we put time, energy, and money into, which is fine once you get that momentum and keep it. But if you run out of inventory, not good. So, we are working on that a little bit right now. And so I'm here by myself. Granted, he's able to, thank goodness, have access to the internet, making phone calls, that type of thing. But we will be processing inventory this week. I'll be doing that on my own. And in our business, we actually do split it up so that there's, typically, some of the stuff that he does all the time, I'm going to be doing for the first time this week, because we have no choice. With that said, how the heck am I going to do that and everything else that I usually have going on since he's gone? And the answer is I'm not. Okay, so this is one of the things that I really want to leave you guys with, that I think is most important. Again, especially for you moms that want to do all the things. You got to be snack mom. You got to be, No, this week is definitely going to be a week where there's going to be a couple things. There's going to be the things that I have to prioritize for our business, and things that absolutely have to get done. And believe you me, there is the longest list that I could ever imagine. That's just, again, if you're an entrepreneur, that's how it's going to be. Get used to it, and we're just going to have to learn how to filter, prioritize. So I am going to, like I said, focus on when that inventory comes in. I'm going to process that inventory. I'm going to have to get it out to our fulfillment centers. And I also, like I said, my daughter's here. Now, here's the thing is, if I were to put it on myself, because there's a heck of a lot of stuff that I could do. Again, Q4 is coming, you guys. Have a couple different businesses going on. I know a lot of you awesome people are on Amazon merch, and everybody's trying to get up as many designs as they can, because you want to be able to sell when people are buying shirts and pop sockets and everything like crazy. And so I could absolutely load up my plate like crazy. And I'm kind of a workaholic. I kind of, thrive on that stuff. But here's the deal is that we've designed our life so that we can be home and be present with our daughter as much as possible, obviously. And with that, so I had to kind of take a step back for a minute and look at this week and say, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to do what I have to do for our business, but I'm going to really enjoy the time that I have with my 2.5-year-old daughter, and focus on that, and focus on being present with her, when she's not napping. And when she's not at Montessori, she's going to Montessori for 3 hours, 3 days a week, which actually gives me maybe about like 2 hours and 15 minutes between the drives. So it doesn't give me, all that much time, but there's that. And then there's between her nap. And my mom will pop over and hang out with her a little bit as well. So there'll definitely be time for me to weave stuff in. But here's a big clue. Stop overloading your plate. Because what that does is that you are working your ass off, and at the end of the night you're worn down, you're tired, and you look at that damn list and you say, oh my gosh, I didn't get that whole list done. Well, you didn't get that whole list done probably because it's not possible to get that whole list done. Okay, so you need to get real with that. And I definitely block out, like if John's here, like we block our time out, like I mean, hour by hour by hour. But one of the things that I've learned, because when I first started doing this, I would jam pack it. I would just pack, and that was even before we had Kenzie. You know, I called our little wild card in the mix. I would just jam pack everything. And then again, you guys, you get to the end of the day and you're like, wow, look at all the stuff I didn't get done. Don't do that to yourself. You need to be realistic with what you have going on. So I know if I'm looking at tomorrow and I was like, hey, I got a couple hours, Kenzie could nap for 2 hours. Well, you know what? She actually could nap for 1. I don't know. It's all going to depend. So what if I book everything and I'm like, okay, here's a solid 2 hours. I'm going to knock this stuff out. And then Kenzie gets up. And then I'm like, oh, I didn't get that done. And now I'm up with her and hanging out. And I'm sitting here thinking about all this stuff that I have to get done. Again, don't do that to yourself. You got to keep stuff in perspective. And then how you do that, you take a step back and look at the big picture. Look at this big picture of life in general. And, you know, sometimes I'm going to get a little bit deep on some stuff, just because, I don't know, that's where my head goes. And I like to think about that stuff because I think it helps, especially on a day-to-day basis, especially with the struggles, when you take a step back and look at, like, really, what am I doing this for? I'm never going to get those moments back with my daughter when she's 2.5. You know, and the last thing I want to do is be with her sitting here stressing about other stuff that I have to get done, you know, because of all the pressures that we choose to put on ourselves. So that's what I'd like to leave you guys with here. You know, don't try and do it all. You know what, if you can, and there's a book, I know somebody had mentioned it recently that they had just read, and it was the one thing. Actually, it was Tara. And she mentioned that that's a book that she's read, and she's actually read it a couple times. And you know why? I think that's for moms. That is an incredible book. I actually just started reading it. I've had it for a little while, just started reading it a little bit. That's an incredible book to look at. I mean, and it's not just for moms, for business in general as well. But I mean, you really got to focus on what is most important and be okay with when you're getting that stuff done. And then I'm going to leave you guys with one last thing, because this is why I'm going to come and I'm going to do this show, or attempt to do this project. I mean, I'm committing kind of like on a weekly basis, and we'll see. I think that once I get the interviews rolling, it's going to be a lot more fun. And then I'll just pop in here and there with some little things that I have going on. But there's this story, and some of you might have heard this before, but there's a story about this little boy, and he's on the beach. And he's walking up and down the shore, and the shore has starfish all over it. And, you know, the sun is starting to come up. It's early in the morning. And he's taking these starfish and he's throwing them into the ocean. And there's this guy, he's like watching this kid just, you know, go through. And there's, I mean, just thousands and upon thousands of these starfish all over the place. And the guy walks up to the little boy and is like, what are you doing? And the little boy said, you know, the sun is about to come up. And if these starfish are out here, he's like, the tide is back. He's like, the starfish are out here. If they're out here through the day, then they're going to dry out and they're going to die. And so he picks another starfish up and he throws it into the ocean. And the guy laughs at him and it says, do you see all these starfish out there? There's no way you're going to be able to make a difference, you know, with this. And the kid looks at him, picks up a starfish, throws it in the ocean, and says, I just made a difference to that one. So I know that there's people that have been out there that have, you know, kind of taken a leap themselves and have impacted me personally. And so I've really realized, I'm getting choked up. I really realized that after thinking about this for a while, you know, it's really not, you know, about me. And if there's just, you know, a few people that can resonate with what I have to share, I'm excited to do so. So with that, all right, guys, I hope that you had a wonderful evening. Gosh, what's going on? I'm not a big crier usually. Sorry. Anyways, okay. So you guys have a wonderful week. Focus on your main things. You know what? And celebrate those. Celebrate that when you crush it. And then all those little things, if you get to them, awesome. Laundry, dishes, whatever. I mean, I don't know. Those aren't my priorities. Sorry, John. Ask him. But anyways, you guys have a wonderful week, and I look forward to seeing you, well, next week on here, but also if you guys want, we do a show on Tuesday, with, Girl Boss Merch Edition. and our merch Girl Boss Edition. Gosh, I'm so sorry. I switch it up every single time. I'm just going to write it down. I need a sticker or something, Amy. With me and my girl, Amy. And I'm not going to announce the guest yet because I've not confirmed that she's coming on, but we should probably have a really kick-ass guest coming on Tuesday. And that is at 9:15 Eastern with my girl, Amy Springer. So, all right, guys, have a wonderful evening and we'll see you next week. Bye.